The Samsung Galaxy A70's positioning in the company's smartphone lineup is a bit confusing, since it shares some of its key specifications with the recently launched Samsung Galaxy A60. But that aside, the Samsung Galaxy A70 faces stiff competition from some previous gen flagships as well as some appealing smartphones from the likes of Oppo, Vivo and Nokia. Can the Galaxy A70 hold its own against the competition? Let's find out in our review. The Samsung Galaxy A70 looks like a supersized version of the Galaxy A50, and that is not a bad thing. The glossy rear panel looks like it is made of glass, but is actually plastic and mimics the depth and reflective properties of glass. The rear panel is subtly tapered around the edges and blends almost seamlessly with the metallic rim, which also has a curved profile to provide a better grip. This makes the device feel thinner than it actually is. Sadly, this phone gets smudged easily, attracting fingerprint marks and dirt particles. While the bundle protective case will help with the former, it creates a bit of hindrance while using the option of swipe gestures for Android UI navigation. The SIM tray can simultaneously take 2 nano SIM cards and a micro SD card of up to 512 GB capacity. It is good to see that the Samsung Galaxy A70 comes with triple slots, which means users don't have to choose between storage expansion and dual SIM functionality. The Galaxy A70 looks and feels great, but the sheer size of this device must be taken into consideration before you buy it. One-handed usage is out of the question since it's hard to reach all points on the screen with one thumb. The Galaxy A70 is equipped with a 6.7-inch Full HD Plus Super AMOLED Infinity U display with 20:9 aspect ratio. The display is really good and it is a key highlight of the Galaxy A70. Colors pop and on-screen content is vibrant and crisp without any fuzziness or oversaturation. We get deep blacks and a great contrast. Be it games or watching videos on Netflix, the quality of the screen ensured a great viewing experience. This new Galaxy A series entrant is powered by the Snapdragon 675 SoC paired with 6 GB of RAM and 128 GB of internal storage. We did not encounter any stutter or lag while switching between apps, surfing social media sites, editing photos, or any other scenario. The Galaxy A70 also handled games quite well. PUBG Mobile and Asphalt 9 Legend ran at high graphic settings, providing a smooth gameplay experience without any stutters at all. Also, we did not come across any heating issues. Samsung has also announced a Galaxy A70 variant with 8 GB of RAM, but it appears that only the 6 GB RAM variant of the Galaxy A70 has made its way to the Indian market. The Galaxy A70 runs Samsung's One UI based on Android Pie, with our review unit running the mass security patch on top. The icons are a bit large and there is a lot of spacing between them, but thankfully you can adjust the grid layout to squeeze in more apps and tweak the font parameters like styling, contrast and text size with relative ease. Moreover, One UI lets you choose between a dedicated button and an upward swipe to pull up the app drawer. There are a host of useful features such as an always-on display mode, face widgets for showing controls for music playback and reminders on the lock screen, Google's digital well-being to keep a track of the phone usage statistics, among others. Unlike the Samsung Galaxy A50, which only offers Samsung Pay Mini, the Galaxy A70 supports Samsung Pay, which can take advantage of both NFC and MST technologies to let users make contactless offline payments. It is basically equivalent to carrying a debit or credit card on your phone. The phone comes with a host of pre-installed third-party apps, in addition to Samsung's own apps. Now, here's the bad part. The in-house apps are ad machines and send a ton of spammy notifications as well. The My Galaxy app in particular dishes out ads left and right, with some of them being rather annoying. The Galaxy A70 also features Dolby Atmos support for providing a better multimedia experience with surround sound effect. As for the onboard speaker, it can get loud and it has a wide sound profile, but at peak volume, there is some distortion. The bundle headset is only good for making calls though. The Samsung Galaxy A70 sports an in-display fingerprint sensor, but it is quite slow when it comes to recognition as usually takes around 2 seconds to unlock the phone. Moreover, it occasionally failed to recognize our fingerprint patterns and asked us to keep our finger in place for longer time. The good thing is that the face recognition works well and it quickly unlocked the device even in darkness. Samsung has equipped the Galaxy A70 with 3 rear cameras. There is a 32 megapixel primary camera with f1.7 aperture. It is assisted by a 5 megapixel depth sensor with f2.2 aperture, and an 8 megapixel ultra wide camera with f2.2 aperture and 123-degree field of view. At the front is another 32 megapixel camera with f2.0 aperture. There are a lot of features to play with, like live focus, AR emojis, and super slow-mo video recording, to name a few. Photos taken by the Galaxy A70 turned out to be sharp with good edge details and decent dynamic range. Macro shots are a strong suit of the phone. The Galaxy A70 was quick at locking focus and produced shots with natural colors, good depth, and fine surface details. There was minimal color bleeding at the edges of the object in focus, and the depth in close-up shots was also decent. Daylight photos also turned out to be good and ready for sharing on social media. But there is one area where the Galaxy A70 could have done better: handling harsh sunlight. We noticed that the camera struggled to reproduce true colors, with photos appearing a tad muted and washed out. Another weak spot was long-range shots, as the camera tended to soften surface details in objects at the periphery. Having a wide-angle lens is definitely an advantage, and the Galaxy A70 gets a thumbs up in this regard. But we noticed a fisheye effect in wide-angle photos. Barring this distortion, wide-angle shots generally turned out to be good, but with less details than a photo taken with the primary camera from the same spot. The depth sensor does a good job at capturing bokeh shots, and close-up portrait shots had fairly accurate blurring at the edges. The live focus mode allows users to adjust the blur intensity before and after taking a shot. The Galaxy A70 misses out on OIS as well as EIS, which is a major disappointment for a smartphone at this price. 4K and Full HD 60fps sample videos turned out to be crisp, but there was some trembling and shakiness due to the lack of stabilization. What we particularly missed was a dedicated night mode. While photos shot in well-lit conditions looked good, the Galaxy A70 failed when the lighting was not optimal. The photos it took came out grainy, and there was a lot of noise with minimal sharpness and object detailing. It also doesn't help much that the lower priced Redmi Note 7 Pro and the Realme 3 Pro have their own night modes. Selfies captured by the 32 megapixel front camera turned out really well, with lots of detail and natural skin colors without any noticeable whitening or smoothing. The live focus feature helps add a blur effect to selfies, but edge detection was not very accurate. There is also an option to capture wide-angle selfies, but only for stills, not videos. The front snapper can record videos at up to Full HD. The AR emoji feature is neat, but we found the motion of our animated avatars to be a little jittery. There are also a ton of stickers to play with. A helpful addition is the Keep Using Last Mode feature, which retains the last used camera setting or mode being used the next time you open the camera app. The Galaxy A70 comes equipped with a beefy 4500 mAh battery that easily lasted a full day of above average usage. At the end of the day, we found that the phone had around 25 to 30% power left in the tank. In our HD video loop test, the phone lasted for an impressive 18 hours and 49 minutes. As far as charging goes, the bundled 25-watt super fast charger took the battery from 0 to 25% in just 14 minutes, and we reached the halfway mark in 31 minutes. It took the phone around 1 hour and 44 minutes to go from 0 to 100%. The Samsung Galaxy A70 is great for multimedia consumption and can handle day-to-day tasks without a stutter, even holding its own when it comes to demanding games. The device easily sails through a day of heavy usage, and 25-watt fast charging is certainly an added bonus. On the downside, the lack of a dedicated night mode and stabilization might prove to be major red flags for photography enthusiasts. Samsung Pay could be useful, but it might not be a major selling point. The Galaxy A70 faces stiff competition from the likes of the Asus Zenfone 5G and the Poco F1, both of which pack flagship-grade hardware and offer excellent value for money. For those on a low budget, the Redmi Note 7 Pro packs the same processor at half the Galaxy A70's asking price. Samsung is presenting the Galaxy A70 as a multimedia powerhouse with some additional conveniences thrown into the mix. And even though the general performance is good, there are strong alternatives out there that deliver much better value for money. And that was our Samsung Galaxy A70 review. For more tech news and reviews, log on to gadgets360.com.